The following program, though incredibly nerdy, is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised, and you probably shouldn't watch if you're an overly sensitive pussy.
It's Monday morning, and it's time to Monday morning quarterback the whole San Diego Comic-Con presentation. We're going to break it down. Lots of detail, a lot of opinions, a lot of speculation, a lot of conversation, a lot of interaction, a lot of things. A lot of things happening today. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. And I also want to say thank you to each and everybody that stopped on by Saturday night for the Hall H presentation. I had an incredible time right up until I wasn't having an incredible time, but we'll talk about it. You know, we'll get into the details. Honestly, it was a really fun stream. I think it was one for the books. And yeah, so we'll break it down. I have a lot to say about the whole thing. I've got in my notes my sort of overall thoughts. Then I want to break down each individual thing that was revealed. There's Kevin sort of talking about the Doctor Doom build-up versus Thanos, which is kind of interesting. It's interesting that he's out there talking about that. So there's a lot to get into. There is a lot to get into today. But I guess the first way to sort of start it off is to see, how do you guys feel? We're a couple of days removed at this point. How are you feeling about Marvel's future? How are you feeling about the presentation? What excited you? What are you hyped about? What are you down about? What's going on? What's going on, chat? Let me know. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know. Rossi is first in today. What did he say over here? Hang on now. I'm guessing this is going to be a 5-minute stream because of all the incredible news we got out of Hall H Experience. Star Wars is back, baby. Yeah, Star Wars ain't back. But me, you know, we'll talk a little bit about Sean Levy. We'll talk about his Star Wars movie. Cam in Tech, thanks for gifting a membership, man. Really appreciate it. Zach says, bought that Iron Studios Doom statue with the throne. So hyped. Yeah, man, there's like a lot of really nice pieces of merch and statues and figures for Doomsday, man. It's kind of incredible. Here, I'll pull some of it up here. That's me needing therapy after setting the expectations. But look at some of this shit, man. Oh my god, this is the one you were just talking about, the Iron Studio statue, right? Holy shit. Yeah, that looks absolutely incredible. This one looks great too. The Magneto. Oh my god. Professor X looking real good. And then the Hot Toys, man. The Hot Toys look incredible. Except for Beast for some reason. I don't know. For some reason, they couldn't get Beast looking real crazy good. But all of these Hot Toys look absolutely incredible. Yeah, man. And I like the Sentinel. Using the Sentinels in the bases for all of them. Dude, the Cyclops especially. My God. My God, James Marsden Cyclops. Hopefully you don't die in 5 minutes of screen time. Yeah, Beast, I'm sorry, Beast, you know? You kind of lower tier. That looks incredible, dude. The Gambit. And the actual Sentinel looks awesome, too. Yeah, those look really, really good. But then, you know, kind of out of nowhere, man, I gotta say, I know I'm a McFarlane fanboy, but this McFarlane Doctor Doom statue here, which comes out, by the way, before a lot of those other ones. No offense to them, but this comes out in the fall of this year. This could be on your desk, on your bookshelf, in your bathroom. This could be in your bed, cuddled up with you this December, around the time that the movie will be coming out. And I would imagine this thing's probably going to be like the rest of them, like 50, 60 bucks max. Maybe this one's a little bit more expensive, but that's kind of another one of the beauties of the McFarlane Johns is like dude, this McFarlane Doctor Doom over here, I think it was like 50 bucks, 60 bucks, as compared to hundreds of dollars for a lot of the other ones. So I don't know. I think this looks literally just as good, if not better, than a lot of the other ones. But I'm probably going to get them all. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get a couple of the Hot Toys. I'm very excited, man. I'm very excited. And the one thing you can't deny about the Doomsday stuff and everything that was revealed at Comic-Con is that Doctor Doom is certainly farming some aura. That's pretty undeniable. We got some aura farming going on with our DJ Doctor Doom. And it seems like a lot of fans are pretty excited, pretty happy about it. I got my Gambit Monster Jam truck and looking for Magneto and Cyclops. Nice, man. What am I take on Doom saying everyone has stolen lives? Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. Hey, by the way, I will say this. With regards to that question about Doom, I have a trailer breakdown that's being worked on right now. It's not going to release until tomorrow, probably tomorrow morning. But it is juicy, man. I spent hours yesterday breaking down the trailer, making this really, really long video. It's with my editor right now. He's putting the final touches on it today. But we're taking our time on the edit, so we're going to take all day editing it. It'll drop tomorrow morning, and it goes into a lot of detail and reveals a lot of crazy stuff from that trailer. But I will talk a little bit about the Doom Stark of it all today on stream. I'll talk a little bit about the Doom Stark, but you're going to want to see that video tomorrow. Like, trust. It's going to be really good. Stark Tech going over, making Hall H panel 30 minutes late sucked. No wonder Marvel panel was rushed, only 30 minutes instead of the planned 60 minutes that they had scheduled. Is that really true? Stark Tech going over, is that what made it shrink? Yeah. So we'll get into it. I do think some things went wrong this weekend. I think obviously that was a part of it. The other panel ending later or whatever. But I kind of think there might have been some other stuff that went wrong too, but we'll get into it. Josh says, might be time to switch to Warhammer. Underwhelming Hall H. Nothing about Secret Wars or it getting split into two parts. Also withholding the trailer. Yeah. So let me just ask you guys. Are you guys... like, how do you feel about Saturday's presentation? Are you guys a little disappointed? Are you totally cool with it? That's the first topic. That's what I'm going to get into in just a minute here. But I am interested. I am interested in how y'all thought about it. Connor says, 1 year, let's go. Will Doom clap Sue's cheeks? In this movie or in Secret Wars? I feel like Secret Wars begins with that. With some Wagner. You know? It was super weak, says Ben. We got T'Challa, that's true. Saturday was great. I had a good time. I had a really good time, and I've softened my stance a bit on it. I am still a little bit disappointed, but I think it was overall a really good presentation. I also think a lot of other people really liked it. Just make sure you're doing the D23 live stream. Oh, yeah, dude. So that's the other thing. In 3 weeks, we're going to get a D23 presentation, and word is they're going to go real big for that. And so what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to learn our lesson. We're going to curb our enthusiasm. We're going to set proper expectations. No, we're not. We're going to go into D23 thinking it's going to be the hypest shit in the world. We're excited for all the insane announcements. We're going to theorize about it for 2 weeks straight. We're going to make all kinds of videos speculating about what will happen. And then we're going to get super mad when it doesn't happen, we're going to be so upset if we don't get exactly what we want. So basically we're going to do it again in just a couple of weeks. Yeah. It's going to be great. Given the context and circumstances, pretty solid presentation. Are you saying that, like, when you say solid, what do you mean? It's an event for people there. People got to remember that. Yeah, and I would tell you that the people that were there probably had an absolutely incredible time. There, you know, that's something else I was thinking about. I reflected on it a lot, not only that night after we got off stream, but I thought about it the following day. And I think that's probably true. But anyway, I want to know more about what you guys think about it. I'll get into my thoughts in just a minute here. Trust me, I got a lot of thoughts. The yappening will be happening. I'm cool with it, to be honest. They're not going to go ahead of the task, and also they're promoting the film like they have the whole time. True. Do you get more engagement from stream clips or professional videos? I don't know how to answer that. Eric says, hey Josh, what are your thoughts on Marvel's Midnight series? Hickman doing Midnight X-Men. Yeah, that shit looks interesting to me. I haven't like looked too deeply into it, but just from like a style perspective, the aesthetic seems cool. You know, that there's that blending of genres with the horror and the superhero stuff, and they got some good talent on it. So yeah, I'm interested. It was lit. The trailer shown was awesome. Yeah, the trailer was really good. And it did leak out. Did you guys get to see the trailer? Some of y'all don't watch leaks and shit like that, so it's all good. And the quality was not that great. But I think that you have a really strong trailer for people to be able to watch it, even in like the leaked version, and get excited because, damn. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. It leaked out a lot, which tells me security there wasn't as concerned at stopping it. Yeah, it's funny because the best version of the leak, or I guess maybe the most popular version of it, actually has not one but two security guards walk past. Like, that's kind of amazing. Like, not one but two security guards walk past and they don't give a fuck, man. How did CinemaCon have such a tight grip on their security, and San Diego like, what's going on over in San Diego, you know what I mean? Yeah, pretty interesting. Most of the reaction channels were disappointed. Oh, is that true? Has to be Meta glasses? Maybe, yeah. Yeah, maybe. Nick P, appreciate the 10 spot, says there was no way Kevin was going to announce the X-Men when Jean is about to get revealed in Brand New Day. And also, I'm happy they didn't come out and announce 10 projects. Yeah, that's totally fair. So you're probably a little bit more on the optimistic, positive side of it, and that's cool. But yeah, so to me, I always thought the X-Men announcement shit was crazy. Like, so that night we watched a video that Eric Voss put out, I think Friday night. And in that video, Eric talks about a couple of different things. He talks about Denzel Washington, how he saw Denzel Washington. He talks about how there's going to be a bunch of A-listers on stage, people we didn't see coming and shit like that. Now, a lot of that ended up not being true, right? I'm interested in if Eric heard something that then fell through, or if that was all bullshit. But Eric also thought Jean, like Sadie, would come out and Jean would be on stage, and then they'd announce the rest of the X-Men. I never thought that would happen. I thought that was always a crazy pipe dream, because that would be sort of stepping on the toes of the Fox X-Men that are coming back, and also the Doomsday movie and Secret Wars movie. I mean, X-Men's not coming out until like 2028, guys. You know what I mean? And it's either a spring or a summer movie in 2028, probably. But yeah, so I never thought they'd do the X-Men, and yet I did think more would happen. I really thought Denzel Washington for Black Panther 3 would have been really great. I mean, I guess maybe they just wanted to give total and complete shine to the new Black Panther, and that's certainly an opinion, certainly an idea. So maybe that's what happened. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. And then also there's like that motorcycle thing. Like everybody heard the motorcycle revving, but there was no motorcycle. Did Denzel steal the motorcycle and drive away? Like what happened there? I'm not really sure. I am not really sure. All right, boys and girls. All right, boys and girls. Let's get into this. Let's make some donuts. Okay. Okay. Let me pull up a little SDCC. Lot to get into, man. A lot to get into today. A lot to discuss. Ooh, got that leaked trailer, though. Okay. We'll switch to that in just a second. All right, everybody. Are you guys ready? You ready for the yappening? Are you ready? It's time to yap. It's time to yap. Okay. A lot of opinions. I see it. I see you guys. All right, here we go. Okay, so I want to give my overall thoughts, my overall impression on Hall H, Marvel Studios' big Hall H presentation that happened Saturday night. We're a couple of days removed from it. We did a big live stream Saturday night, as we always do for these Hall H presentations. Hell of a stream, really, really fun. Many of you were there. Thank you for being there. I really appreciate the support from everybody. And we had a good time. Now, I did ultimately leave the presentation a bit underwhelmed. And in fact, there was a moment when we saw like a tweet or something, and somebody said, yeah, and then Feige just said, I'll see you at Doomsday, and walked off stage. And I was shocked because I did not feel like we were ready. I did not feel like we had a mic drop kind of a presentation. You know what I mean? I did not feel super great at that moment, okay? Now, a couple of days removed from the entire event, I do feel a bit differently about it. And so I kind of want to just give my thoughts and definitely want to see what you guys have to say about this as well. I think the reality of this presentation is that for many of us that were at home, that are super plugged into the entire news cycle, and we know all about these little rumors and leaks and all these different things, for those of us that are really plugged in, that were not in the room, I do feel as though the presentation's underwhelming. Ultimately, you just have a look at Spider-Man, a look at Doomsday, which is great. And the people in the room, of course, got exclusive stuff. We didn't really get that. We got descriptions of it, and it all sounds really, really cool. The big announcement that was sort of secret was Ryan Gosling is going to be Ghost Rider in the MCU. No word on if he's Danny Ketch or Johnny Blaze. We'll talk more about that later on when we break down that exact project. And then you had Black Panther 3. And look, I think it's a combination of me not being super thrilled with the direction they're going in with Black Panther 3, with young T'Challa, and wanting way more, and also being already super plugged into the point that, like, I know all this stuff about it, and this is just feeling a bit underwhelming in comparison. I think that kind of just explains the disparity between those of us that maybe feel the way that I'm feeling and the way that a lot of other folks are feeling. Because the other thing that's important to mention is that for the people in the room, I bet this was absolutely magical. So the thing is, if you were in the room, first of all, you got those cool Doom masks, okay? All those reveals and the energy had to feel really exciting and great. You get to see exclusive footage from both Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man Brand New Day. Spider-Man Brand New Day was a clip that I've seen, by the way. Both of those things leaked out. I watched the Spider-Man clip. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's really cool, man. Hulk shooting up or Punisher shooting up Hulk, and you kind of see the genius of having a villain like, well, Hulk's not really a villain, but he's going to be antagonistic in the movie, and having this antagonist like Hulk allows Frank to go crazy violent because the bullets just bounce off. So it's pretty cool. So I really liked that scene. Even just seeing it in a leaked version, and I can imagine just being in the room, like, that would be so hype, right, to be a part of and be excited about. And then, of course, you get the Doomsday trailer, which, it's incredible, dude. Like, basically, even if people are hating on the presentation, and there are people hating on the presentation, they admit that the Doomsday trailers, from what they could tell, is pretty exciting, pretty freaking cool. I also think if you're a normie and you're a little less plugged in than, you know, we are here on this channel, I would imagine you're also pretty thrilled with maybe not the presentation, but with the announcements, let's say. So Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider is so interesting because I think Gosling is pretty high profile right now. I think a lot of people really like the dude, and a lot of people like Deadpool and Wolverine, and so, you know, the Sean Levy connection is certainly there. We'll get more into the weeds on how, like, a bunch of film nerds are not exactly super happy about that, but that also shows, you know, a kind of bubble effect that I think the studios are wise to ignore. Like, the studios are frankly wise to ignore the film nerd, film bro bubble, and they're also probably wise to ignore us, the super hardcore Marvel bubble people as well. It's really more about the mass appeal folks. And from that perspective, I just really think these announcements and the things that came out from this totally work and get people to be paying more attention, to be a little bit more plugged in, and to be a little bit more excited about the coming movies and the coming Marvel projects. In a sense, you could really think of it as, for Aunt, Uncle, you know, Johnny, and the people that are kind of checked out, they're just hearing stuff like, there's a new Black Panther, and it's a male Black Panther, you know what I mean? They're just hearing Ryan Gosling is Ghost Rider, and they're going to do a Ghost Rider movie. They're just hearing that people at Comic-Con saw a Doomsday trailer, and apparently it's absolutely incredible, and, you know, that movie's going to be crazy. They're just hearing things like that. So I ultimately think that this is a good presentation overall for Marvel. It's not the presentation I was hoping for, and I'm not up here telling you that, like, the people like you and I don't matter. I actually think Marvel is usually a lot better at satisfying us and the rest of the room. So I really do think that they dropped the ball just a bit this year on not giving enough absolute crazy juice to the super fans that are very plugged in, that are at home. But from all the other perspectives, I think this was a pretty good presentation. And it's also probably a bit of an appetizer, frankly, which I'm a little frustrated about. Like, I'm frustrated about, because I like San Diego, and I don't love this idea of, like, D23s and Disney-controlled events, you know, just building their own cachet to try to supplant what I consider to be a really important Mecca-like gathering for, you know, fans, nerds, and geeks, right? But at the same time, let's be real, in 3 weeks' time, maybe 2 weeks' time, depending, we're getting D23, and Daniel RPK and some of these other scoopers are saying you might actually get your X-Men announcements. You might actually get some juicy stuff that we thought maybe we were going to get this weekend at San Diego in a few weeks at D23. And so there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to do a live stream for that. We're going to get really, really excited. So I can't sit here as a fan and just tell you, like, yeah, I'm butthurt, because I'm not butthurt. I thought about it. I've processed it. I wanted more because I'm a selfish nerd. You understand? Like, I'm a selfish nerd, and I wanted way more. And frankly, I do think there's a way to do a version of this presentation which does give a little bit more to us, the hardcores, and also satisfies the normies. But those are my overall thoughts. That's kind of my overall thoughts after kind of sleeping on it, after thinking about it for a while. You know, I was a bit more negative Saturday night, but now I think I understand it a little bit more. What do you guys think? I'll open it up to chat right now. And I also want to say that appreciate Mr. Falcon, man. $50 haul. That's very generous. Says, what up, Josh? Hope you and the family are doing well. I know you felt disappointed about SDCC. Here's $50 so you and the fam can go see Clayface later this year. All jokes aside, man, keep doing what you do. Nerd Avengers for life. Appreciate it, man. OMGC89 says, I think Ryan Gosling Ghost Rider is perfect casting. He would have been a fan cast before this announcement even happened. Yeah, totally. We're going to talk more in detail about Gosling as Ghost Rider in just a bit here. Because it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, and there's some other elements that make it even more interesting. Have you seen the Doomsday cast interview? I've seen a couple clips that were pretty awkward. Whoever the interviewer was either just like the most socially awkward person ever, or they were doing a bit or something. Yeah, it was pretty whack. The trailer was kind of better than the first. Oh yeah, I totally agree. Hulk, Spider-Man, Punisher, maybe. Jean Grey, maybe. Scorpion the Hand, bring a change of clothes, nerd. I know, I can't wait, dude. Wednesday night, baby. Did Anthony Mackie soft confirm Chris Evans is and has been playing Nomad since Endgame? Yeah, I think so. I think he did, yeah. Not gonna lie, I didn't know I wasn't subscribed until I couldn't comment. Wait, what? Oh, well, now you're subscribed. Black Panther 2 Doomsday, now Secret Wars without T'Challa and T'Chaka. Understand, Disney, it's war. Oh, shit. I think they are nervous about giving us a slate of movies again because of what happened with Phase 4 and 5. Yeah, it's possible. That's certainly possible. What do you guys think of that? I think these two announcements are going to lead into a Ryan Coogler Midnight Suns movie in 2030. That would be dope. Yeah. That would be really, really dope. That would be exciting. I was still hyped with the leaked trailer. Yeah, me too. I think it's really, really good. The Entertainment Weekly interview with the cast was a rough watch. Yeah, I didn't really watch it, but I saw some clips and I was like, what the? My reaction was like, the fuck's going on in this? This is so weird. Shake Prime says, do you think Deadpool will be in Doomsday? Yes, I do. Yeah. Expo City with a $5 holler says, I'm more upset at those who reported seeing certain actors at the con that got us hyped. Don't know if they were flat out lying or needed glasses. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know what to say about that. Eric is usually really not an overhyping kind of a guy. I mean, I know he gets really, really excited and he's gotten a little crazy with some of his fan theories and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't think he made up seeing Denzel. There were also other reports about Denzel that were out there. So, you know, you almost wonder, like, did something happen? Did something change? Yeah, I'm not really sure. I was shocked by the Voss of it all also. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I totally get that. I totally get how that can be a little bit rough. But overall, like, just also judged off of the level of actual tangible, like, projects that are going to come. Like, if you think about it like this, like, Coogler's absolutely going to cook with Black Panther 3. I'm not that excited about the new T'Challa. You know what I mean? We'll get into that. But Coogler's on this winning streak. You know, Sinners was this, like, industry paradigm shifting movie. Like, he's just really in his bag. And so you have to understand that even if you're a person like me that's, like, not that pumped about it, like, that's huge. And that's a huge signal boost to a lot of people that really like his stuff. He is an absolute rock star right now. And many people just, they're like, they hang on his words and shit. So it's a great get that he's still around. He's doing Black Panther 3. He's committed, and they have a new Black Panther. Like, they have a vision. They're going to execute on it. I would imagine that movie's going to be, I would imagine it's going to be really good. You know, even as somebody that's skeptic of the decisions, even as somebody that's like, oh, man, okay, I wonder what we're doing here. You have to give the respect to Coogler that he has clearly earned. And therefore, it's going to be really interesting to see what he does with Black Panther 3 and how this new T'Challa will even play into it. Like, what is that, right? The Sean Levy thing is kind of interesting because, you know, I think a lot of, like, film nerds and, you know, these people that are really into, like, film culture and, like, discussing film and stuff, like, they're very dismissive of Sean Levy, and I think they would, like, shit on him or whatever. But I really think that's a bubble, dude. I think you look at Deadpool and Wolverine, and I would imagine that they're excited about Starfighter, and they think Starfighter is going to perform much better than Mando and Grogu. And if it does, like if Starfighter does like really well, and then a Sean Levy Ghost Rider movie does like really well, like, and I think you probably keep that budget a little bit lower. Anywhere between $500 to $800 million is probably a success for a Ghost Rider movie. I mean, it kind of doesn't matter what these pinky out, clove smoking, wannabe film critic motherfuckers think on Twitter. It doesn't matter. The studio's making the right move. Like that is a guy that can stay on target, make films quickly, not blow up budgets, and they make money. And I don't know. There is a part of me that thinks there are people that are just excited off of that. And I do think there will be people that are excited when they tie it to Deadpool and Wolverine. And if Starfighter's decent and they tie it to Starfighter, I do think that'll be something people will like as well. Why aren't you excited for Starfighter? Well, because it's in the Star Wars universe, and Star Wars is dead, and I hate it. And I hate what it has become. And so I have a terrible reaction to it. I don't want to talk about Star Wars. Don't bring Star Wars up anymore. I don't want to hear about it. That's basically what. Nerd Vengers, it's my 27th birthday. I'm happy celebrating the wonderful news of Brother Power joining the DCU. Much love. We don't know what the DCU is. We don't know what Brother Power is. Happy birthday to you. You're 27 years old. It's about time to grow the fuck up and stop being into the DCU and get into Marvel Studios or Warhammer, preferably both. Happy birthday. Shut your mouth. VTJ Productions, $5 holler, says that leaked trailer shows how important Pedro Pascal specifically is to this movie. Read the leaked trailer, give me chills. Pedro could be Doomsday's MVP. Hey, Pedro, get off your sock puppet account and get the fuck out of my chat. We don't want to hear that shit no more. Pedro, the MVP? Get out of town. No, but in all seriousness, that's actually a fair point. We'll talk a little bit more about Pedro and Reed and Doom when we get into the doomsday of it all. JBK5099, thank you for the $5 holla. Says Eric Voss's cap needs to stick to his day job. What? What? Isn't that his day? Isn't that literally his day job? I'm pretty sure he was clocked in during the day at Comic-Con doing these videos. What the hell? Did you hear someone was giving out counterfeit wristbands at SDCC, which led to all of the issues of people getting in? No, I did not actually hear that. No. Eric's catching strays. I mean, comes with the territory. When you get out here in front of the camera and you put on a microphone and you start yapping, there's consequences. Do you think we will see RDJ Iron Man fighting Doom in Secret Wars? I do, yeah, I do think so. Did you hear Kevin shit on Thanos and the whole Infinity Saga? Oh my God, did he really? Holy crap. Oh, it's so crazy. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. Freaking boho. Raji says, Joshua Lucas's cap. He needs to stick to his day job. All right. I feel, am I having a seizure? Is this another one of those dreams? What is happening? Has my boy Josh seen the Lanterns trailer? Yeah, I have seen the Lanterns trailer. The Lanterns trailer is pretty good. I have an alarm set. Okay. Every day of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because I get up early to hate on James Gunn and the DCU. I'll show you the alarm. Just believe me, I have the alarm. And yet, that Lanterns trailer looks pretty good. That Lanterns trailer looks so good, I'm going to watch them massacre my boy, Hal Jordan, the greatest Green Lantern that ever existed, the one that should be on the Justice League and should be doing the whole fucking thing for it. Like, So yes, it was a very good trailer because now I'm going to sit down and watch them kill the goat. Kind of getting depressed just thinking about it. Thank you so much. JBK says, I say that because he lied about Denzel being there. I understand, brother. I'm just having fun. Don't get too upset. If I ever yell at you or take some cheap shots at you or make fun of your name or the way you pronounce something, it's only because I am a gigantic asshole. And when I'm in a flow state and I'm doing my thing on stream, it just comes out, you know, my natural assholiness. Some people are holy. Some people are assholey. Probably an Iron Man from the first Avengers movie versus Doom. Oh, that's kind of fun. I wanted to be Endgame Iron Man after he just figured out time travel, so that line with messing around time. Yeah, I actually think that could work too. We'll get into more of that. Eric didn't say he was there. He said people told him he was there. Okay, but I don't remember. No, I watched that video, Chris. He literally said he just got out of it. I saw him get out of a taxi into an SUV. Eric's words. That's what he said. I mean, I'm pretty sure he said that. Hal is a weird way to spell Kyle. I like Kyle a lot too, actually. Kyle's cool. Voss said it, and Denzel caught it and dipped. Yeah. He said it. It was a part of the Spaceballs panel? Really? Interesting. Eric just saw the other guy actor, probably. Yeah, I mean, there's some pretty interesting questions one could ask about what Eric actually saw, maybe, you know? But... Nonetheless. Okay, let's leave it there. That's just the TLDR on it, okay? I want to deep dive on the Ryan Gosling. Ghost Rider shit, okay? I didn't say... what? I didn't say... You guys are going wild with your speculation. I didn't say anything. I didn't imply shit. Stop putting words in my mouth. But also, you know. Darth Saber says, good morning, Josh and fellow nerds. What did I miss? Just got here. You only missed the first segment, which was just overall take on San Diego Comic-Con. And I was super mature about it. And I kind of talked about how I was a little butthurt on Saturday, but I've matured a lot. I grew up. It's a new year. It's a new me. So I'm accepting of the presentation. I'm back on the hype machine, and you know, I've seen the error of my ways. Yada yada yada. Yada yada yada. Okay, let's talk about this Ghost Rider. Why are you guys making me yell? Ghost Rider. I hope the opening theme is like Ghost Rider. Vroom, vroom. Ghost Rider. Yeah. Oh, dude, yeah. Hell yeah. Ghost Rider. Sean, if you're watching, Ghost Rider, come on. You know it's good. Ghost Rider. Okay, we'll do this. We'll do the discussing film bullshit thing of it. Okay. All right, so I think the biggest surprise of the San Diego Comic-Con Hall H presentation by Marvel Studios was Ryan Gosling officially cast as Ghost Rider. Now, Daniel RPK spoiled it hours before the Comic-Con because he's a terrible person, but also accurate. So interesting. Ryan Gosling has officially been cast as Ghost Rider in the MCU. So I want to do like a 10,000 foot view of this. I want to talk about the positives. I want to talk about the seeming negatives. Maybe I'll express some opinions that you also share, or I'll express some opinions that you absolutely hate, and then we'll see what you guys have to say about all of this as well. Couple of interesting new details about it. Kevin Feige revealed in an interview after the presentation that Ryan pitched this to them. Okay, so Ryan had specific comics in mind, which I really think is the Danny Ketch version of Ghost Rider. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think he's even possibly hinted at that before in interviews with Josh Horowitz, which is like, that's a cool run. It's kind of unknown, untapped potential there. Very interesting, and could also have it so you have a Johnny Blaze and you have Ketch, and that'd be kind of interesting as well. So that's cool. I love it when a person that has a lot of cachet in Hollywood, at the height of their power in Hollywood, when everything's really moving and grooving, they call Kevin Feige and say, I want to be Blade in the MC. Oh, that was Mahershala, actually. But no, I like it when this happens. It's cool. I like when the actor takes ownership of the thing. I like when the actor's excited about it. Apparently, Goss, he spent a lot of time with Sean Levy making some shitty Star Wars movie. And they talked a lot about this pitch because their days were probably filled of like, I can't believe we're making the shitty Star Wars movie, but here's a movie we could make that we'd actually be really into. And they probably filled their days with dreams of what the Ghost Rider movie could be. So Goss has the pitch. He pitches it to Sean. They go to Marvel. Marvel likes it. Bada boom, bada bing. It's go time. My first reaction to this was very hyped. I think Goss as Ghost Rider is incredible. I think he's an incredible casting choice, but here's what's weird about that. When we say that, are we talking about Johnny Blaze? You know what I mean? Like, when everybody saw this casting and everybody got excited about it, was everybody talking about a version of the character that he's not actually going to play? That's kind of interesting. Let's just shove that question way deep down and never bring it up again. Kind of interesting. But no, it feels like he's a good casting almost no matter what, right? Because you would imagine it's even Danny Ketch, you're going to pull on some of the flavors of Johnny Blaze. It's going to be a little bit similar. He's obviously he's been in some cool action movies where he's either, riding fast cars or riding spaceships and shit like that. So, that adrenaline vibe is right on point. I really liked him in, what was that movie he did with Emily Blunt where he's the stunt guy? I forget the name of that one, but he was really good in that too. So it just feels like a good fit. We like that he wanted to do it. He pitched it to them. It's exciting. He's also got a lot of cachet right now. People love the Goss, man. Like, I don't know what it is. He's on a roll right now. And even though I think Star Wars is dead and it'll never come back and I never want to talk about it again and it should just die and they should stop it and they should take all the money that they're going to give to any Star Wars project in the future and just give it to Marvel, there is a part of me that thinks that Starfighter movie might be pretty good. You'd have to imagine it's at least not a bag of assholes, because if it was, I highly doubt they would greenlight and create a big presentation to show that he's going to be the Ghost Rider and do another Ghost Rider movie. So there's a lot to like about this. However, I think upon further reflection, I, at the very least, just have a few questions, chat. Just a few questions. Like, number one, what the hell? What's about Blade? Like, I don't know, man. There's too much of a similarity between this project and the Blade project. It feels too, like, I feel as though this project is missing. Oh, hey, and by the way, remember the other guy that at the top of his game, reached out to us and we were like, let's make it happen, and we fucked it up for 6 years? Well, guess what? He's going to be starring across from Ryan Gosling, Ghost Rider, in our Midnight Suns movie. And then the crowd goes wild. And then Mahershala comes out. And then they make a little joke about it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what the joke would even be, but fuck, man. You know, I'm just saying, like, it's too similar of a thing to, like, not address that, in my opinion. Okay? So that's number one, and I think a lot of people felt that way, and especially when it was all over, we're just like, what? like what? Anyways. I think the other thing that a lot of people are questioning is, so we're still doing solo movies. We're seemingly still ready to go on a solo movie, announce it way before it's scripted or ready to shoot or anything. And I don't know, like, so we've got Spider-Man, we got Doomsday, and then we think the next saga's X-Men and shit, right? And so a Ghost Rider solo movie, like, I'm just going to be honest with you, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, yeah, I guess that could be fun and maybe cool, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not as excited as I would be about a Midnight Suns movie, or I'm not as excited about what I would be for a whole bunch of movies, frankly. And this just feels a little... It feels a little like, hey, he wanted to do this. We're finally going to pull it together. It does have a fanboy kind of thing going on. You know, I'm excited that he's getting it, but it does just seem after a little bit more reflection, it's a little bit of an underwhelming movie. Now, we know zero about it, but at the same time, whose fault is that? That's their fucking fault, dude. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't tell us anything. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know if it's really our fault for looking at it, reflecting on it a little bit. And I think especially because I expected a lot more from this presentation. And to me, the Ryan Gosling Ghost Rider thing is similar to the Blade thing from 2019, where it's a footnote, it's an afterthought. There should be so much ample planning, so much of a plan, so much like going on. Oh, and then by the way, one of the hottest stars in Hollywood actually wants to join the MCU. He actually loves the comics, and he has a pitch for this movie, and it's going to be really cool. Fuck yeah, dude. That's a nice thing to have on the slate. I'm not saying I reject it. I'm just saying it's not dope enough, I think, personally, to be this sort of anchoring announcement at San Diego Comic-Con to get us excited about the future. It just becomes one more thing that could be good, and there's a lot of questions, okay? And then I think the last part here is the Sean Levy element. A lot of people on Twitter and film Twitter are really negative on the Sean Levy of this announcement, right? And I'm not like there because I think a little bit more highly than Sean than a lot of other folks. I do think, strangely enough, Deadpool and Wolverine might be one of his weakest entries. But I actually think you look back at like the Real Steel movies, and I really think he brings heart to movies in a way that is understated. I think a lot of modern critics are cynical, elitist buttholes that don't appreciate the subtle nuance of actual heart and heroism in a movie, and they overemphasize these like sort of dark twists and all these like moral ambiguity. Like, I just think there's a disconnect between what can just be considered 4-quadrant feel-good entertainment and this like overly sophisticated thing that people seem to just constantly be praising in film Twitter. So from that perspective, it's like, well, I see the argument from the film Twitter people, but I also think that just like some of my grievances that probably seem so ridiculous as like a fanboy, and I'm like, well, what about Blade? What about this? That I think that the film Twitter skepticism of Sean Levy is also something that should basically just be completely ignored. And he will make, I think, a good Ghost Rider movie. I really do. I think he'll make a really good Ghost Rider movie. And if you're a big fan of the character, like I actually think that this is probably a huge W. I guess for me as a Marvel fan, I'm just a little like, I look at this and I'm like, man, this doesn't feel like it should be the biggest thing that was announced. Like, this shouldn't have been the most surprising thing. Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. So one last thing I'll say about this, and then I want to open it up to chat and see what you guys think. The thing that's wild about this is that there's a lot of reporting that would indicate that Goss will join the Midnight Suns movie. And the Midnight Suns movie might be, as its three main leads, Mahershala Ali, Oscar Isaac, and Ryan Gosling. And that's incredible. So if we're looking at like phase 1 building into Avengers 1, and this movie is like an Iron Man or Captain America First Avenger or Thor or Incredible Hulk, right? And it's like, this is a key piece that's going to tell a story but lead into Midnight Suns. From that perspective, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. But it's just weird that Marvel isn't saying that. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't that be a part of the announcement as like a little cherry on top, or maybe even a tease later on? They seem to be completely unwilling to connect this to Mahershala, to connect this to their future plans, even though we've heard a lot about that behind the scenes. So I don't know. I'm a little bit confused, because if that had been a part of the presentation, which all you need is a fucking logo. This is what I don't understand. All you need is another logo, and Mahershala and Oscar Isaac come out. They share the mic. They say some charming shit, and that's it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. But I guess from Ryan's perspective, like, this is his movie or his thing. He really wants it, and he's the hottest shit in town right now. I don't know. I just gotta tell you my authentic take, my authentic feelings about it. I'm not even saying I'm right. I don't have this sort of license to be the arbiter of what it is when it comes to Marvel and what they should do. I'm just giving you one man's opinion, and I'd love to know what you guys think about that, okay? Because look, I'm a fanboy, okay? I'm always going to take it to that fanboy place and be like, you know, crazy about it. So anyway, what do you guys think of this Ryan Gosling, Sean Levy, Ghost Rider movie? It's a big deal. Like, you know, regardless of how you slice it, it's a big deal. So I'd love to know. What do you guys think? I think they're being super careful with the movies after years of shitty lineups. I think that's fair. I think that is fair. So you think that's probably why they're holding back a little bit? The Warden says, I don't care. Oh, no. Bring Jared Leto out on stage. My God. Love the Cope. Hey, thanks. Are you going to look at the Sideshow Hot Toys Doomsday figures? Yeah, we already looked at them. They're incredible, dude. You kidding me? They're incredible. I want some. I want some all. Ghost Rider will tongue kiss Doom in Doomsday. Wow. You heard it here first, folks. The penance tongue. To be honest, I think there's a 50-50% chance he could portray Blaze or Ketch. Sent in a relevant super chat. All right, let me see. Ryan is a good dude, and I think he'll be great in the role. Fingers crossed, baby. Let's go. Much love, says Landon. Hell yeah, man. Are you signing the old Crossfire board game song for Ghost Rider theme? If so, I've never been more proud of you. I don't even know what that is, so don't be proud of me. Zuhar Galaxy says, what's your workout routine? I don't even work out. I just play Warhammer and smoke cigars. And if you want to improve muscle mass and strength and cardio, get into Warhammer and start smoking cigars. Okay. Trev says, here is hoping we get Ghost Rider, Punisher, Wolverine story, Heart of Darkness. That would be pretty cool. And I like all the actors we have in those roles too. Yeah. Interesting. Diamond G says, Mahershala Ali is going to be an old man Snipes in Blade 4. No! Hope not. He stole this routine from Henry Cavill. Yeah, absolutely. I think they're holding back in the X-Men and post-Secret Wars announcement until Oh, so they're throwing us some Ghost Rider and new Black Panther news until then. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. You think they bring Nicolas Cage in Secret Wars as a send-off? I do think so, yeah. Logo guy was too busy to make Midnight Suns logo. Oh, yeah, that's probably true. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Second Doomsday trailer just leaked. Well, it's been leaked, brother, but it is very cool. I recommend checking it out. Yeah. Rated R Punisher and Wolverine movie would go so hard. Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would. Oh. Are you hyped for Denzel in Wakanda 3? Yeah, no, I am. It's just that I wish it were confirmed, and I wish he would have come out on stage and did some cool shit like that. Brand new day, 345 projected opening weekend. Yeah, I know. That's pretty wild. Isn't that more than No Way Home? That's pretty crazy, huh? That's like more than double what Supergirl made total, I think. Unless I'm crazy. Are we talking about the leaked trailer? We'll talk about it a bit later on, yeah. Was it not confirmed in the trades? It was not confirmed in the trades. No, I think it was referenced in the trades because Denzel himself revealed it, and then I think the trades covered it a bit, but I don't think the trades broke it or confirmed it. I could be wrong. But that's what I think. Second behind Endgame? My God. Yeah, Marvel's dead, though. Marvel's so dead. I can't believe how dead Marvel is. All right, any last minute thoughts? Anything else about Ghost Rider, man? The Goss is Ghost Rider. The Goss is Ghost Rider. You think Blade shows up in Ghost Rider? I hope so. Maybe post-credit scene. Maybe we got some of that energy going on. Yeah. Yeah. 2 more sleeps till brand new day. I know, right? It's crazy. That's crazy. I can't wait. Wednesday night, baby. All right, enough of all that Ghost Rider nonsense. It's probably going to be good. It's just, I just think it's a little bit of an underwhelming announcement. But. All right, should we talk about Black Panther 3? Should we talk about Black Panther 3? Let me pull up my tweet about this shit. All right, so the other big announcement that was made outside of the Spider-Man and Doomsday stuff, which we expected, was Black Panther 3. So confirmed, Ryan Coogler doing it. It's going to come out December 2028, I believe. So it's the holiday December movie in 2028, the year after Secret Wars, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, the absolutely insane update is that we have a new Black Panther, and it will be David Johnson. Now, I am not very familiar with this guy, mostly because he's just been doing a lot of scary movies recently. So he did like The Long Walk. Was he in Sinners? I think he was in Sinners. And then he did another scary movie recently too, Romulus, Alien Romulus. So I don't really fucks with the scary movies. So I haven't seen this guy. But a lot of people that have seen this guy are very excited about it. And in fact, E-Man's Movie Reviews, who's literally the founder of the Recast T'Challa movement, I saw a video where E-Man was speaking very highly of David Johnson. And in fact, he had mentioned that he looks a lot like Chadwick Boseman in some of the performances, right? So it is what it is, okay? Now, we've had this conversation like over a dozen times at this point, but I guess because it's in the news once again and officially confirmed, we'll have this discussion one more time. Marvel's current plan is to have another Black Panther that is kind of named T'Challa, because even though his name is Toussaint, apparently he will go by like T'Challa II, and a lot of people will just call him T'Challa. I don't really even like that. Like, what are we doing here? Have your cake and eat it too bullshit. Doesn't make any sense. But essentially, this will be the child that T'Challa had that's revealed at the end of Wakanda Forever, that's being sort of raised by Shuri, that will eventually take over the mantle as king and as the Black Panther in Wakanda. And I just got to be real. Like, as a fan that didn't like the direction of not recasting T'Challa, as a fan that really did not like Wakanda Forever, this announcement does not actually do a lot for me. Okay? Now, to be charitable and to try to be, even-handed here, I do think having a young male black T'Challa-esque character that's Black Panther is good. I think you need Black Panther, and I think it needs to be male, and I think that's actually really important. And this is something E-Man and I talk about a lot as well, because Disney at the time was, when this happened, Disney was hell-bent on having a Black Queen, Black Panther, and Shuri was going to be this perfect thing, because they were like, dude, Disney princess, Disney queen, Wakanda, like, this is the perfect, like, meshing branding opportunity. And Emmanuel and myself, we actually talked about this at great length on a podcast. It undermines how important the masculinity and this really important archetype figure of Black Panther as a Black male hero. It undermines what that is and why that is important. And so from that perspective, it is cool that we're going to have that once again. And in some ways, the toy is being put back on the shelf, right? So I'm excited for that. And I'm going to give David a fair shot, even though I'm really not happy with the decision and I don't like the direction. I'm going to give it a fair shot. Coogler is masterful. And so it would be so ignorant of me to completely reject anything that he cooked up. That being said, I gave him a fair shot with Wakanda Forever, and I will never watch that movie again. Okay? That's just a personal thing. I don't fucks with it. I don't fucks with the trauma. I don't fucks with a lot of the direction that they did in Wakanda Forever. And I think there is a reason that that second movie makes $500 million less dollars worldwide. I think a lot of people did not fucks with that movie as compared to the first one, which is a shame, because the first Black Panther movie I think is incredible. A lot of people say it's overrated. I don't agree. I actually think it's really good. That third act gets a little bit whack. But I think the first Black Panther movie is incredible, and I really don't like the second one. So I'm kind of in this like awkward position as a fan where I can recognize the good in this decision. I can recognize how this is in some ways setting things back the way that they should be, that I think is just proper for the absolutely male-dominated audience that Marvel Comics and Marvel movies have. And in particular, a character like this that's always designed, like when Stan Lee created this character is designed to be this African king that comes and whoops the asses of all the Fantastic Four. They use that wrestling thing, and the Fantastic Four become jobbers to T'Challa to build him up. And then you're like, whoa, this like breaks all of my ideas of what I thought was going on in Africa, and this king's like super advanced and highly, capable and all these different things. That was like so important. Like it was really, really important, that archetype and what that did to comics and what that allowed people to imagine, et cetera, et cetera. So I can say I'm happy in so far as we are sort of returning to form in that way, while also just sticking like 10 toes down and just being like, I completely disagree with this as the way to handle T'Challa. I completely disagree with this. I think it is crazy. Like, this would be like killing off Clark Kent and then having Jonathan come in and then just being like, well, no, it's just Jonathan now, but he's going to be Superman and everybody's going to love him the same. No, they're not, because he doesn't have the comic book precedence. People haven't connected to that character. People have read 50 plus years of stories with T'Challa proper. This character doesn't exist in comics at all. Zero. And there's this kind of thing that happens where we sort of value things based on the longevity that they have had. So, the reason that we like Homer and the Iliad and Plato and all these older is because they have stood the test of time. These are stories that have stayed with us and continue to provide value to the human psyche and the human experience for thousands of years. And so you have to respect that gauntlet of time and what time can do to really establish how valuable a thing is. There are a ton of comic book characters that just didn't work out for whatever reason. All sorts of them. thousands. But there are some that made their mark and had a really important history and really resonated with people for various reasons over decades of stories. And I think it is absurd to throw that away. And I think this is a have your cake and eat it too type of situation. Now, having said that, I'll stop bitching about it because I bet some of you are getting so mad even as I say it. I just don't care. I don't care if you're mad about it. I feel how I feel. But on the other side of that, I don't want to be this curmudgeon that's super butthurt about this the whole way to the movie. So I have to kind of prevent myself from trying to be like, you know, Trev. You know, I don't know if you guys know Trev. He's a member of the community. Like, I don't want to be like Trev. I don't want to sour the mood. I don't want to make my issues with this like mandatory conversation every single time this comes up. And so what I'm going to try to do is let it go a little and give him a fair shot. Kid seems like he's incredible. I know he's going to take it very seriously. Coogler takes it very seriously. And say what you will about Coogler and the decision they made with T'Challa. Wakanda Forever is an intentional movie. I think it is exactly the movie, more or less, that Coogler wanted to make. And I enjoyed that aspect of it while really just not liking like the overall package of the film. So I'm going to give it another shot. I will also say this. I think Denzel and mutants in general, and maybe Storm, maybe other characters, would really help this movie out for people like me. I'm not saying for everybody. Some of you are probably jazzed about this, super psyched about it. And you know, Bob's your uncle. But for the fans like me, a Denzel Washington Shadow King would go a long way, dude. You know, like that would really go a long way. And his like the ability for a character like that to try to undermine the psyche of this new T'Challa could be very interesting. So I'm going to try to keep an open mind. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to try to keep an open mind. But it was strange to me that the two announcements outside of Spider-Man and Doomsday at Comic-Con were seemingly somewhat controversial announcements. You know? Not to everybody, but to large sections of the fandom out there. I think both of these announcements had a lot of baggage come with them. But at the end of the day, this is what they're doing. This is their plan. No Denzel announced, just the new Black Panther. So I'd love to know, chat, what do you guys think of that? I'll bring chat up. Are you excited for Black Panther 3? Are you excited for a new Black Panther? What do you guys think? Shadow King is a weird choice. I think Shadow King is an incredible choice. Like an incredible choice. You know what I mean? Kendall says the 10 spot, appreciate you, brother. Says, love your take. It's okay to not like it and respect it. The fact that Chad is still being remembered in a world where media has historically discarded black men is a goal of representation. You know, that's true. And that's kind of like an understated thing of this, right? And maybe like that's something we should focus on a little bit more. At the end of the day, even the people that are across from me on this issue of the recast, we all love and respect Chad, and we should honor who he was and what he brought to the role, regardless of whether or not we disagree with how to go from here. And in a sense, even this conversation keeps the spark of what he brought to that role alive. And I would also argue that, of course, to Ryan, and, you know, you would assume, you know, to David, the new Black Panther, honoring what came before and the tension of losing Chad will be put into that movie in a way that is, well, it's fertile ground for emotional resonance and incredible performance and a lot of the things that we really love about that. I'm ready to be moved. I'm ready to be shocked. I'm going to keep an open mind. I'm hopeful that there's something there for me. While also just still pretty strongly feeling how I feel about the character. Now, look, a part of this is just plainly nerdy selfishness. I have a lot of comics I've read with T'Challa that I fuck with so heavy, man. I love T'Challa. I love T'Challa. Man, he's like one of the most interesting elements of that entire like New Avengers run that leads up to Secret Wars. His rivalry with Namor, when he betrays Captain America. Like, dude, I'll never forget that shit when he betrayed Steve Rogers. It's like even T'Challa knows Steve is too much of a Boy Scout for this moment. It's just like, I don't know. I just really like that character, and I don't like this like this, you know, whatever. I've said it a million times. But yeah, appreciate the thoughts, man. What about the Restians? What do you guys think? Purple Funk says, not gonna lie, I was disappointed, but with this year being light for Marvel, won't next year SDCC be crazy with them showing Secret Wars unless they use New York Comic Con? Yeah, I would imagine next year's gonna go pretty big. Yeah, I would imagine. They should pivot, adding Storm. And if they're not landing Denzel, well, I think they landed Denzel, man. I think they landed Denzel, but why not Storm as well? Why not Storm and Shadow King? It'd be cool. Grandmaster Choda says, Josh, you need to pull his balls out his ass and watch masterclass performance David Johnson on The Long Walk. Much love. A+ casting. I don't like the scary movies, man. You know what I mean? You will like Alien Romulus. It's not scary. You'll be fine. Yeah, look, much love, guys. I totally understand where you're at with this. It's really hard to explain to people, but it's not even that I just don't like scary movies. It's that I actually think that putting yourself in a position to watch a couple of hours of content that's constantly to keep you in a state of tension and shock and frightening and all that, like, I actually think that's like ridiculous. Like, I'm like very much against that. I like horror when it's mixed with another genre, and it can add emphasis to things that are like really, really cool. But yeah, that's just a me thing. Like, I'm just never going to do that. I'm going to be very stubborn about that. The Long Walk ain't scary. No, I totally get it, guys. But you're not hearing what I'm saying. You're not hearing what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if the little thing underneath the name on the streaming service, because that's all I do is watch this fucking streamers, right? And so if the little tag says horror, I'm out. I'm out. The only horror movies I'll watch are Stanley Kubrick horror movies, and occasionally some other thing like Lars von Trier. I've watched some Lars von Trier, okay, but that's different. That's like I'm witnessing a masterclass in cinema, you know. And then I put my pinky out and smoke a clove cigarette. The Long Walk isn't even a scary movie. Okay, so now we're doing this. Now we're doing this. This is what this segment has become. Now we're doing this. Now the spotlight's on me. Darth Saber says, wait, but The Predator and Alien aren't real horror. You're not a fan of those movies? No, I like those movies. I watched most of the Alien movies. I'll probably eventually watch Romulus, too. Luke Skywalker is in it, my brother? Yeah, but he sucks now, you know? Are you wearing a Christmas shirt in July? Christmas in July? This guy gets it! Also, I forgot to change. I was going to change. But thanks. Josh, do you watch way less movies than one would expect for someone who covers a lot of media culture? No, that's not true at all. I just don't watch movies that, like, y'all watch. Like, I actually watched, over the weekend, twice, I watched my favorite Woody Allen movie called Crimes and Misdemeanors. It's like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this movie. It's actually really hard to find this movie for whatever reason. It's on zero streaming service. I had to buy it. But that movie is incredible. It's existential. It has to do with philosophy and ethics. I love that movie, and I'll sit down. I watched it twice. I did, yeah, because I love being in there and exploring those themes and those philosophies. Like, that's like a cool mental exercise to me. But the idea of like sitting down to the idea of sitting down to watch a movie that you're just going to be tense the whole time and be like, oh, you know, the whole time. Like, God bless you if you like that. God bless you. I'm not into that. You know, that's not me. Nix says, is Marvel not recasting T'Challa a foreboding that they won't recast legacy characters post Secret Wars? Well, I'm not so sure that is what it is. I think it's probably more the case of maybe not anytime soon. And in fact, maybe T'Challa himself could eventually be recast if they did some kind of reset or something. I'm not really sure. All right, are you going to watch Vader 2 episode? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think it's ridiculous that some people don't want a new Black Panther. You really think Chadwick wouldn't have wanted the role to die with him and no one else ever get a chance? Yeah, again, people feel differently about it. I feel pretty strongly that Chad would want the role to be recast. Yeah. But all right, that's enough for all that. Black Panther 3. Somewhat controversial. What do you think? Controversial, or am I just being a butthole? Are people all excited about it? Remember when Jeff Snyder got us all excited that it would be actual T'Challa recast, and him and John Roca did like hours of podcasting being like, yeah, it's time. I think it's time. Like, yeah, just recast it. Like, it's a great role. All this. Those were a good couple of weeks when we thought that's what was going to happen. Yeah. Yeah. Super excited. Hey, Bob's your uncle. All right, we got a couple more things to get into today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at this brand new day footage. Well, we can't really look at it, unfortunately, but I can talk about it. This is a really cool new shot or TV spot for Spider-Man. It's a brand new day. Maybe I'll have to go to Reddit for this. Hang on now. Where's the fuck? Hang on, I'll find it. Hang on. The post-credit scene for Spider-Man Brand New Day is leaked. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Where's the Spider-Man footage? What the fuck? Fuck it. We'll just talk about it. We'll just talk about it. What's the issue with them being T'Challa's son, though? Oh, dude, no issue whatsoever. It's perfect, and I'm super excited that they're doing it. All right, let's talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day. Comes out this week, and over the weekend at San Diego Comic-Con, fans were treated to an entire sequence of the movie, which was Peter and Punisher fighting against the Hulk. Now, I can't show you any of the images, but man, did it look cool. It leaked out there. I watched it. Did you guys watch it? Chat, did you watch it? Did you see it out there? It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. So, you see Hulk, and Spider-Man and Punisher are fighting it. It begins with Peter kind of like fighting Hulk, and then Hulk's about to like smash Peter, and then Hulk starts getting like shot up by Punisher, and Punisher's coming in like like just loading rounds into it. He launches a grenade at Hulk. Hulk grabs it and goes, "Really?" And then it blows up. Now, what that's implying is that it's actually Smart Hulk still, but he's starting to get more rageful. He's starting to transform in a way where he's getting bigger and more powerful, but for at least a little bit, it's going to feel like maybe Banner is still in charge, or Hulk is just smart. Like maybe it's actually just Smart Hulk, you know, kind of a little bit more akin to what we get in Ragnarok, okay? the scene also includes some funny dialogue where they're talking about, you know, whether they're trying to avoid the Hulk and they're trying to do a plan together. The banter between those two seems incredible. And it just looks like it's going to be really fun. You know, I said this at the top of the stream, but to have a character like Hulk, especially because he's going to become very ferocious, to have a character like that and to have John Bernthal's Punisher and him actually be able to like unload like all the bullets, all the explosions, all the weapons, and it's not gonna like blast people across the walls or like have them explode, right? Like no blood and gore because Hulk is so strong. I think it's gonna be really fun. We're going to get a kind of different version of Punisher, and I think he's going to be able to showcase a lot of his skills. Frank is an incredibly good killer. He is really, really good with a lot of different tech. He has like a really good mind for battle and battlefields, sabotage, all sorts of stuff. Like Frank is that guy. And I think it's going to be awesome to see him put that into place with Spider-Man and them have to actually like fight against this version of the Hulk. So that footage, because I saw it, it's incredible. I'm sure the people that got to actually see the full thing, it's in the Hall H, were blown away by it. I think this movie's going to make buku bucks, man. I think this movie's going to make crazy amount of money. But it did make me think of something. Okay, it did make me think of something. And I'm kind of wondering, because we heard very early on a rumor about how Frank Castle was going to get an upgrade in this movie, which would help him fight against the Hulk. And I think we're all thinking the same thing. We would like to see the Punisher in the War Machine armor, which was something that happened in Marvel Comics. Although it was a brief stint, it was super cool. And technically, because there was a connection between Peter Parker and all the Stark tech, and he has a fabricator, and some of the Stark AI might still listen to him and stuff of that, like that. I'm starting to wonder, because look, we got so much crazy stuff in this movie, and there's stuff with, you know, the Jean Grey stuff, and her sister, and just other stuff that's starting to come out. World premiere tonight, by the way, so there'll be a ton of leaks coming out. But I can't help but think, if this Hulk is really going to be that powerful and that out of control, and Peter has that connection to Stark Tech, could we actually get Frank Castle in the War Machine armor fighting against the Hulk in this movie? Like, dude, that would be absolutely incredible. Like, that would be really, really cool. And, you know, we talk about the merchandising for the movie. I think Punisher, like, I already pre-ordered the Punisher hot toy, and that Hulk hot toy looks absolutely incredible. But I think John Bernthal Punisher being in the War Machine armor, that's something that I need. Like, I need these various Doctor Dooms that we're going to get for Doomsday. That's kind of an incredible opportunity. So, yeah, with that being said, I thought they did enough at Comic-Con. That footage is exciting. It did leak out. I'm sure a lot of people saw the leaks. This movie's tracking to open potentially bigger than Spider-Man No Way Home, which is insane to conceive of. It's looking like the second biggest comic book opening of all time, right behind Avengers Endgame. Although not right behind it, because I think Endgame literally opened to like $1 billion, which is insane. But yeah, dude, this might be a massive movie. And it was cool to see that footage and get that tease at San Diego Comic-Con. So, you know, we've been talking about the San Diego Comic-Con thing. And frankly, again, it's, you know, I'm a little mixed on it overall. I'm a bit mixed on both the Black Panther 3 announcement and the Ghost Rider announcement. But there's zero bad things I have to say about Spider-Man. Zero bad things I have to say about Spider-Man. I am so excited for this movie. I'm seeing it on Wednesday night. I'm going to probably go out and see it again on the weekend if it is as good as I think it will be. Post-credit scene, going to tie potentially to Avengers Doomsday as well. So, yeah, I don't even know that they needed to do too much at San Diego Comic-Con other than just keep the excitement going, keep the hype train going. A lot of promo going out this week. So those are my thoughts on Spider-Man Brand New Day and the Punisher of it all. And obviously, man, I tell you, if we get Bernthal in the War Machine suit for this movie, then they're just making fanboy dreams come true. Like, I will just be smiling ear to ear and super excited to see what all of that happens or how that all happens in the film. So anyways, what are your thoughts on all of that, man? What if Jean takes over Sentry? Probably not a good idea. You know, I think he's pretty mentally unstable. I don't think that would go well. It could also allow Punisher to be in Secret Wars, since we don't have Rhodey right now, since he is a Skrull. Yeah. Tactical planning, taking on Doom. Yeah, maybe. I'd be into it. Is this Armor Wars now? Yeah, Carl, it is. Yeah. Do we actually think Man Spider is happening or nah? I think it's sort of happening, but I don't think it'll go full Man Spider. He might have like a vision of it or a dream about it or something. Unfortunately, it's not happening, I believe. Oh, well, that's kind of a bummer. I still hold out hope. So a Savage Hulk will be in the city, but no new Avengers or old Avengers will show up. I think some other Avengers might show up, at least at some point in the movie. We'll see. If they are fighting at damage control, who's to say a War Machine armor isn't in there already? That's a great point, dude. Like, yeah, totally good point. The Exodus says, cool potential for Frank to be the aggro older brother figure to Peter, then for Peter to get the symbiote, adopt Frank's colors, and adopt Frank's edge. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, yeah, man. I like that. I think that could be really, really good, yeah. Punisher going to be sent to find Jean because she's controlling Hulk. Oh, well, maybe. I can see that. I can absolutely see that, yeah. Always forgetting about Rhodes being a Skrull. I know, right? Sucks ass. I would love to see Daredevil in Brand New Day. Well, Daredevil would love to see, period. Will it be the next Clone Saga, Ben Reilly and Peter Parker in Secret Wars? I don't think so, but that'd be kind of fun. Hulk will crack Spidey's little ass. Wait, what? Yeah, a scene where Punisher will be presented War Machine armor like Tony did in the Iron Spider, but Frank accepts. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun, yeah. Yeah. No, Johnny Storm always played the older brother role to Peter. I can't see him doing it. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get Johnny Storm, but it kind of feels like Johnny Storm might go back to his universe. She doesn't have to control Hulk, just block Banner or Banner only Hulk. Yes, something like that. I think is probably what's going on. And man, a lot of excitement for this movie this week. Yeah, this is crazy. Spider-Man Brand New Day reportedly projected to earn $345 million domestically. Oh my God, that is right behind Endgame domestically. Holy shit. That's insane. But this is gonna be super quality, man. Marvel's very blessed to have Destin over there, and Destin's, he's been talking some shit. I think well deserved. I think he absolutely cooked on this, but they also put all the right ingredients and all the right toys into this thing. Very cool. Very, very cool. All right, any other thoughts on Spider-Man? Should they have shown us the footage? Will they maybe show us the footage in the next couple of days, you think? Social embargo lifts at 1 a.m., so a lot of spoilers coming soon. Wow, okay, well, I'll cut a video about that then. I I got the trailer. The Doomsday trailer will drop tomorrow, that video, but then probably Wednesday morning we'll drop the Spider-Man reviews. Maybe we'll talk about it on stream as well. That'll be juicy. Because no stream tomorrow. No stream tomorrow. Obviously should have shown it to the public. I tend to agree. I tend to agree. Yeah. Do you think Daredevil will make another appearance like No Way Home, or will they keep the cameos to a minimum? Well, I think I don't know. I think there's going to be some cameos. So Florence Pugh Pugh's in the movie. I think some of the other Avengers might be in there too. Yeah. Think we'll ever get Bernthal and Downey interaction? I think so, especially if Downey sticks around. When is your post Brand New Day rundown? Probably Friday morning. Friday morning, we'll go full spoilers on stream for Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's going to be fun. I love those streams. And we're actually having some real fire streams, man. You know, like San Diego stream was real fire. Friday, full spoilers, Brand New Day. And then a couple of weeks from then, we'll do the D23, which I think is Saturday night as well. So that'd be cool. Yeah. All right, we'll leave that one there for Spider-Man. I did think it was probably a really strong part of the presentation if you were in the room. For those of us at home, all we got to see was the pictures of Bernthal coming out on stage. We got the leaked footage of Hulk. It does look cool. Like, it does look really cool. Oh, it's Friday. Streaming on a Friday night. Okay, all right, okay, we can handle that. But yeah, I'm really excited. I think this movie is going to be generational. I think we'll also be able to put the Jean Grey rumors to bed very, very soon, which will be nice. And yeah, so we'll talk about all that shit on Friday. On Friday. All right, guys, I got to take a little bathroom break. And then we've got a couple of other things we can get into. There's Feige's comments about Doctor Doom versus Thanos. There's the Doomstar connection, which I think is still on point. And then there's the Stolen Lives connection. So maybe we do Feige Doom and the Stolen Lives stuff. We kind of make it into 2 more segments or something. Does that sound good? Does that sound good? All right, guys, I'll be right back. Give me just a moment. I'm gonna put on another coffee. I gotta go potty. I'll be right back. Ghost Rider! Ghost Rider! Didn't wash my hands? No, you know what? I actually feel bad about not washing my hands this time because I scratched my butt. I scratched my ass. Sorry, guys. I let you down. All right, where's the video of Feige talking that shit about Doctor Doom? This is making waves. Oh, here we go. Here we go. 58 seconds. Yeah. All right. So Kevin Feige, after the Hall H presentation, had this to say about the Doctors of the Doom versus the Thanos buildup.
But I will say, I do think, I was just saying to somebody else, that the Thanos buildup has built up in people's heads over the years.
I have to admit
he sat on a chair at the end.
I know.
He pulled the gauntlet out and said, "I'll do it myself."
Yep.
And he yelled at Ronan on a video screen briefly.
Sure did.
And that was kind of it. And I remember the memes making fun of Thanos for just sitting in a chair, and all he does is sit on a chair. And there was a Twitter feed at the time about him updating every day, updating. I'm still sitting in my chair. I'm still sitting. It was more clever than that, but it was funny. And when we got to Infinity War, we said, this is really the introduction of Thanos to people. That's really what we're doing. That's how that movie was built.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing with Doom. That is, the Doomsday is a introduction and the story of Doom. You peel the onion, you learn things about him as you go, and it is very much meant for audiences that know and love him from the comics and audiences who have no clue who he is.
Yeah.
But I will say, I do think, I was just saying to somebody else.
So, look, these comments have caused somewhat of a kerfuffle on the internet. A lot of people taking exception to this. They don't agree. I actually do agree with Kevin for the most part. Although a lot of people did bring up, because a lot of people are pushing back on this, they're saying like Kevin's gaslighting them and all these different things, right? I thought about this quite a bit, okay? And I think he's right, but I also think there was probably opportunity here to clarify it and sort of throw a bone out there, because I think what he could have said is, now, but here's the thing, he doesn't want to talk about Kang at all. That's what makes it. But I think you could have said, you know, effective, like, to us, Dr. Greatest. There was a lot of discussion about Doctor Doom, even in Phase 5. Visually very interesting ways. Infinity War. I think it's like the watching Avengers. It's really fair. This other beat mysterious. Okay. Bill signaling of because especially way around movies. Oh, fun. Other We're come that one technic and talk. What the hell just happened? What? How? What? How? Why? Why? I didn't do anything. What the fuck? When did it start? When did it start? Why did this happen? These goddamn interdimensional beings! What? Like, but what? I leave the room, I go to the bathroom, I come back, nothing has changed. There's zero reason. Nothing has changed. I didn't unplug anything. I didn't switch anything. We've been rocking and rolling for almost 2 hours. Should we try again? Should we try again? I do like to yap. I do like to yap. Switching to the Kevin video, man. Yeah, but that doesn't really make any sense to me, brother. You know, like, why would that affect my microphone output? You know. All right, let's run it back. Let's run it back. No, dude, screw that segment. No, but I had a good point. All right, fuck it. We'll just go into the Doomsday shit. We're just going to the Doomsday shit, okay? Yeah, Kugler got me. You were talking about Warhammer. I wasn't even talking about Warhammer. I wasn't. Do this. Okay, we'll do this. We'll redo it, and then we'll do Doomsday. But I'm getting tired, you know? It's almost 2 hours. I can't do these long streams, you know? You guys know me. I like to do a real quick stream. 3 times a week, max. I've been streaming way too much. I streamed 5 days last week. I streamed 5 days last week. We did 3.5 hours on a Saturday night. What about me? What about my Warhammer? What about my hobbying? Damn. All right, anyway. Sun's getting real low. Okay, all right. Here we go. Okay, so Kevin Feige making some waves out there on the interwebs. So we're going to play a clip here where Kevin is talking about the difference between the build-up for Thanos and the buildup for Doctor Doom. These comments have become somewhat controversial. People are a little upset that he said this. Here's what he said.
But I will say, I do think, I was just saying to somebody else, that the Thanos buildup has built up in people's heads over the years.
I have to admit
he sat on a chair at the end.
I know.
He pulled the gauntlet out and said, "I'll do it myself."
Yep.
And he yelled at Ronan on a video screen briefly.
Sure did.
And that was kind of it. And I remember the memes making fun of Thanos for just sitting in a chair, and all he does is sit on a chair. And there was a Twitter feed at the time about him updating every day, updating. I'm still sitting in my chair. I'm still sitting. It was more clever than that, but it was funny. And when we got to Infinity War, we said, this is really the introduction of Thanos to people. That's really what we're doing. That's how that movie was built.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing with Doom. That is, the Doomsday is a introduction and the story of Doom. You peel the onion, you learn things about him as you go, and it is very much meant for audiences that know and love him from the comics and audiences who have no clue who he is.
Yeah.
But I will say...
Okay, interesting. That's an interesting take. So he's pointing out something that we've pointed out on the show before, something that John Campea recently pointed out. And I think that's just because this is an ongoing conversation, right? People are like, where's the Doomsday buildup? I can't believe we're doing this with no buildup. And some people are also saying, like, and Thanos had 10 years of buildup with all this really well thought out shit. And, you know, we got into the Infinity War and it was dope. And we're not getting none of that with Doom. Like, who even is this Doom? You know? And I think, you know, people like myself, people like Campea, and now Feige himself are kind of pushing back on that because it is revisionist history. There's not a lot of screen time. I think Thanos has less than 5 minutes of screen time before Infinity War. Maybe less than 6 minutes, but still, not a lot of screen time. Okay? But 6 minutes of screen time is a hell of a lot more than Victor Von Doom had. Or is it? If you know, you know. But fair, right? Fair. There was buildup for Thanos. There's not buildup for Doctor Doom. Now, I'll sort of steel man both sides of the argument because I think both sides actually have a point. From Kevin's perspective, and it is absolutely true and fair to say that the Thanos buildup did not create the iconic Thanos that everybody loves. Thanos being the Darth Vader, Thanos having all the memes, Thanos being as important as he is pop culturally has very little to do with the Infinity Stone MacGuffins. It has very little to do with that 6 minute of screen times. It has very little to do with all of that. Infinity War does the heavy lifting. Infinity War is one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. They do an incredible job of building and explaining Thanos, who, by the way, is so different than his comic book counterpart. He's not trying to get with death. He's not a complete nihilist. He actually has somewhat of benevolent intentions, even though it's super twisted up the method by which he wants to get to a world of balance. He has somewhat altruistic motivations. That movie is the reason that people love and care about Thanos. It's not even in Endgame, because frankly, it's a different Thanos, and he kind of sucks ass in Endgame, if I'm being honest. It is all Infinity War. So from that perspective, I think Kevin has a point. Okay, but now let me steelman the other side, because I think this is something that maybe Kevin's missing. The real thing here that nobody's mentioning, at least nobody that I've seen that's making this argument has mentioned, is Avengers 1. So the very first Avengers movie is very specifically setting up Loki as a puppet, as a henchman, as a lackey to another villain that is built up the entire film. There's a section when Loki goes back, and there's this moment he's having with one of the Chitauri priests, and the Chitauri's like, you would disobey him? He who found you, gave you cosmic knowledge, he who put the scepter in your hand. Later on, when he comes back, Thor says, who would control the would-be king? And there's this whole idea of like who's actually in control. And so Thanos in Avengers 1 is set up, and the entirety of the rest of those movies, including all the stuff in Age of Ultron, does continue that setup. Okay? So, Kevin's argument is sound, but I think the other people have a point insofar as, yeah, but that MacGuffin was literally in your first Avengers movie. You actually almost destroyed Joss Whedon's mental health completely in order to keep that thread going in the next movie, and on and on and on. Oh, and by the way, he's also a henchman to another villain in another movie, which explains the MacGuffin thing. I'm talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. It explains the MacGuffin thing, the Infinity Stone thing, gives you more context. So this is a through line that was continuing. Both are valid points. I think both people are actually getting it wrong. I think the people that are saying there's no build up to Doom, that's not really the issue. The issue is there's no foreshadowing. There was no plan of incremental unfolding that was taking us closer to something we knew was a big deal. It's almost more of a foreshadowing than anything. And because of that foreshadowing, and because of all the time we spent investing in these other movies, Infinity War itself is able to play with themes and things that people actually really cared about and were thinking about for a long, long time. And so therefore, it's more feel good. But Kevin's absolutely correct that it's actually, none of that actually would have mattered if Infinity War wasn't what it was. Infinity War is the reason you care about Thanos. But you sort of look back and sort of retroactively project all of these things you were thinking about over the course of the Infinity Saga to Thanos, and that's actually really feel good. So I think a better thing to say from Kevin's perspective would have been something like, I understand where fans are at with this, but they're underestimating how important the movie of Infinity War was to making Thanos into the next Darth Vader. All the memes, all the excitement, everybody gave a fuck. And in fact, the movie's so good that a bunch of y'all went back and watched those movies. You hadn't even really been on board until then, right? So the argument should really be more that people are underestimating how important the actual movie was to making it all work. And if I were Kevin, I would have said something like, we were actually building towards Doom in ways that are not obvious now, but will become obvious in the movie. And he was always coming. Dr. Doom was always something we were building towards. Now, granted, yes, we did have an Avengers movie with a different title because that road was different before. We've actually consolidated a bit, but we think fans, when they see Doomsday, will recognize setup from phases 4 and 5, especially the Loki show, which will give you them a similar feeling as to what they had in Infinity War when it felt like it was one big story that all came together. So I'm not like, look, Kevin's a human being. He's just answering the question the way that he feels or whatever, but he's very media trained. He's very savvy in this. He's actually like, I think he's usually just a little bit more sharp. I think an answer like that, like the hypothetical one that I've given with hours and hours of contemplation, totally removed from the situation, hindsight's 2020, right? So like, fuck me or whatever. But I do think that the take is correct. There's a way to thread this needle. There's a way to say it in a better way. There's a way to like not get people to think you're gaslighting them and instead say, there's just things that you're not seeing. And I promise you that that feeling of coming together, that feeling of the payoff, it will be there in this movie. And also, we absolutely fucking cooked with Doomsday. So that's a lot of yapping from your local yapper. But I just wanted to address this because it is something that a lot of people are arguing about, and I can see both sides of it. I don't think Kevin is wrong. I just think he might have given the wrong answer, if that makes sense. So anyways, chat, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think Kevin's dead wrong? Do you think he has a point? One last thing I'll add to this, because I said it in one of the other videos. But I think Kevin could have also said this as well. I would have said, and if you look to the comics, Doctor Doom is in like 3 issues of the 80 issues that built up Secret Wars. He comes in incredibly last minute in that story, and it's amazing. It still works, and it's still incredible. So Doom is one of those characters that's seemingly always pulling strings together behind the scenes, and we just don't always see it. I think something like that also would have gone a long way with the fans. Anyways, what do you guys think? He's wrong, but it's okay. He can't get things right all the time. But yeah, he's wrong. Yeah, that's okay if you feel that way. It's all good, man. Nick's Tape FC says Kevin sounded a little frustrated in the interview. I did get a sense that he was frustrated. I actually felt like he seemed a bit frustrated the entire time, which also leads me to believe that something might have happened behind the scenes that jammed up the presentation a bit. We've had 10 years of Tony Stark Iron Man. That's your build-up right there. You're right, Jay. You're right. But he's not going to say that right now. But that's what I mean. Is like he could have said a version of it. Like where he could have said like, you might be surprised at how much setup Doctor Doom has had, but that will become clear after you see these next two movies. Like, right? But maybe he just didn't want to say that. But like you and I are thinking the same thing where you're like, oh, no, guys, this is actually way more well thought out than Thanos. Like legitimately, maybe not executed as cleanly, but this actually has more forethought, more impact. This was a plan longer in the making than even Thanos. But I wonder if they're just not willing to admit that yet, you know? He came off like a little kid kicking and screaming, but guys, it totally worked. Forget about Thanos. I do think he came off a bit like that, but I also think, man, the internet is just like ready, you know? They're just like they're ready to attack, you know? Like I used to be so nice. Like go back and watch my old videos. I was more soft-spoken. I was a little bit more shy. I had a very pure heart. And you motherfuckers have turned me into a dark soul. So I totally get it. I understand. I live on the internet. Unfortunately. He was just a little guy. What about stolen lives? Yes, we're going to get to the stolen lives. Also, on the stolen lives thing, I have a huge breakdown that's coming out tomorrow about the leaked trailer. It's incredible, and it's going to go into the stolen lives things. Watch it. It's coming out on the main Den of Nerds channel. I'm dropping that shit early in the morning. We're dropping super hot fire on the main Den of Nerds channel tomorrow morning. Breakdown of Avengers Doomsday with all that shit in it. Josh and pure heart do not belong in the same sentence. Hey, you don't say that, Connor. Every time you saw Infinity Stone, that was set up for him because even if you're just a general audience member, if you were paying attention, seeing the movies, you knew there was something there. Yes, I think that's fair, but also it's really the incredible weaving and retconning and writing that they do in Infinity War that gives that a satisfying conclusion. And I think also Endgame also helps with that. That's more of the point. He shouldn't have said it the way he did, I think. I don't think he's wrong. I just think he should have worded it a little bit differently. That's all. Foreshadowing is different than buildup. Exactly, Chris. Exactly. I agree with you. Yeah. I'm expecting the worst, but hoping for the best. With Doom, Feige and RDJ really need to blow my mind to topple Thanos with zero buildup. Yeah, and look, again, like, if I'm Kevin, I'm not even going to... I wouldn't even, like, get in the mud in that situation. I would just be like, when you see this movie, you will not any longer feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it should be. But I also don't mind him coming out there and talking some of that shit, right? I just think that it came across... It just didn't come across perfectly. Rare L for Kevin. He's usually so savvy on the mic, and it's not even like he came out and said some of the shit that Gunn says, you know what I mean? But he did kind of step in it here a bit. Goon would be whining all over Twitter if he was in that situation. Yes, I agree with you. Vader had zero buildup in A New Hope. Yes, and I think that's a fair comparison. Why was there no buildup for Iron Man before his first movie? Dude, that's a great point. Now I'm over Marvel. Now I'm going to burn all my Marvel shit. Doom was one of the things He Who Remains was trying to keep out of his sacred timeline. I agree. I think so, yeah. I think so. The sort of shat on his own production and the fans with that interview, which was so strange. I want to call back to Endgame where Tony is talking to his father and Howard tells him how far along the pregnancy is. Tony's subtle look says a lot. Yeah, I agree. Amon, what's up, brother? Says, hey, Josh, just joined the stream, so I'm not sure if you've covered this, but am I the only person still a little bummed that Damson isn't Black Panther or Marvel isn't recasting the real T'Challa? Yeah, we talked about that. I am a little bit bummed that they're not recasting T'Challa. And as far as Damson is concerned, I don't think he was ever in the running, man. You know, look, I'm not trying to like be mean to anybody or be mean specifically to Geeky or whatever, but, you know, so Geeky is kind of saying right now that he still thinks Damson could be Secret War or could be Black Panther in Secret Wars. And that is like retired. You know, that doesn't make any sense, dude. That's so stupid. Like, why on earth would that make any sense? And why on earth would that be a good thing, even if it happened? It doesn't make any sense. Now, if it happens, I'll go back and be like, damn, like, he was right. But as far as I'm concerned, no, like, he's wrong. And I don't think he has good sources. And I don't think he has good discernment of how to know people are lying to him at the end of the day. But you know what? Frankly, I'm not that great at that shit either. That's why I don't really do the scooping game. I've got a couple of good sources. Sometimes I'll check on things. But like the idea that I need to be known as the guy that had this scoop or that scoop, like I don't give a fuck, dude. You know? But like that is really silly to me to like still think he's somehow going to be Black Panther in Secret Wars. Like how does that make any sense whatsoever? Why on earth would they do that? Like, give me any logical reason as to why they would do that. They would never do that. I mean, we got Cavill Wolverine, so it's possible. Aren't we supposed to see variants that we'll never see again on screen? Yes, but here's the difference there. Here's the difference. They had the guy that plays Wolverine, and he did a ton of variants. And he's also the star of the movie. And he's also playing that character until he's 90. So the Calvulrine is like a nice little footnote, fun joke thing. Okay? Black Panther, especially currently in the fandom with Chad's passing and the decision to not recast, is not something you can do a Cavill Wolverine-esque joke about. What's the joke? What's the punchline? How is it funny? That doesn't make any sense, dude. I have half a mind to believe the reason they didn't bring Denzel out on stage was because they wanted to be such a big deal. We've got a new Black Panther, dude. This guy is now going to be a huge push for them. They want him to be very successful in the role. They want merchandise for him. They want him to be playing these movies, doing these movies for 10 years. They want male Black Panther in the MCU for 10 more plus years. They want to recreate iconic things that happened in the comic books with T'Challa, with this new guy. So how does it make any sense at all whatsoever to have a different, very popular young male Black actor play a version of Black Panther in your next movie before the guy that comes in that you just announced at San Diego Comic-Con? Like, that makes zero fucking sense. That doesn't make any sense. If anything, it's him in Secret Wars. Johnson. The actual Black Panther. And in fact, we think there might be like some aged up potential there. So there might be something to how he gets aged up via the multiverse or some shit, right? So, yeah. RDJ going to be behind the T'Challa situation. You think so? That'd be kind of fun. I don't think they're that bold enough to actually connect that to the plot. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. I just don't think that was ever real, dude. And I think that, like, so one of the problems is, like, when you start, like, talking about scoops and shit, a whole bunch of people are going to hit you up. Some of them might even believe that they actually heard something real from this person, that person, or whatever. But, like, you have to be able to discern where you're getting this information from. And you've got to be able to, like, cross-reference it with other reliable sense-making things, you know? Damson was campaigning hard, though. No, he wasn't. He literally just would get asked about it. And in fact, if you look back at those interviews, one of them, he's like, you know, and then he says something like Marvel yes or whatever. But he never turned that shit down. He never turned it down. He was never in contention. Never. Yeah. Yeah. I thought they were going to announce Ryan Gosling as Black Panther. I thought so too, actually. Okay, last topic of the day. Last topic from the day. Doomsday trailer. All right, so let's talk a little bit about that Doomsday trailer. It leaked out online. I think it's absolutely incredible, man. I think it's absolutely incredible. Most people are very positive on it. And in fact, most people say that should have been the first trailer. And we're watching like screenshot, like 480p versions of it from across the room that's recording on the thing with the blown out audio. We're basically Matt Murdocking this shit. We can't see nothing. And yet, oh my God, that trailer was great. I think it's moving people, man. I think people are having religious experiences and similar kind of phenomena. Like I think this is crazy, dude. So that's number one, is that it's actually really, really exciting. And I will say here, I will mention again that I have a detailed breakdown coming out tomorrow morning on the main channel, Den of Nerds. Go check it out. That video is going to go into incredible detail about everything that's revealed in the trailer, everything it's potentially teasing. So you're definitely going to want to watch that video. But I'll talk about a couple of things briefly here. Number one, the trailer very obviously sets up a history and a relationship between Sue Storm, Reed Richards, and Victor. You start with Sue Storm talking about Victor, who he was, how he used to be, his change. He lost everything. The middle section of the trailer has Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards saying, Victor, did you do this? And then more emphatically, more emotionally, like, did you do this? Like yelling and screaming. And that shot in the trailer where he's like, did you do this? And you just see like Dr. Doom's eyes as he's like looking up. And then we get into some crazy action. Like, my God. Very, very intense. Very, very intense. Okay. And then probably the most interesting line from the trailer is Victor saying, all of you have been living stolen lives, and it's time you give them back. That's pretty interesting, okay? So many people are asking, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, I think it ties directly to the Doom Stark theory, which, by the way, I don't know if you saw this. Let me see if I can pull this up. They were asked a lot of different things, the cast of Avengers Doomsday. When they were asked about the connection between Stark and Doom, they said, we can't touch that, can't touch this. So, cast of Avengers Doomsday was asked whether the characters in the film acknowledge that Doctor Doom looks like Tony Stark. Chris says, we can't touch that. Downey says, can't touch that. And they instantly kill the question. They're like, nope, can't touch that, can't talk about it. Well, guess what? Whenever there's some kind of a reaction like that, it means there's something to it. It means there's something to it. And I think this connects directly to the stolen lives thing. Now, there's another really interesting parallel here, which I think will help you be able to wrap your head around this. It appears that Victor Von Doom might steal the life of a young Franklin Richards. And what I mean by that is he's going to steal the life that he could have had, that he would normally have had, and he's going to adopt that kid, Franklin, Reed's son. And when we get to Battleworld, he's very likely to make it so Franklin believes he's the biological son of Victor Von Doom. And you start to think about how that might parallel what we think happened with Victor Von Doom on the Sacred timeline, which is to say, that a young Victor Von Doom was taken and adopted by the Starks and made to believe that he was a biological son of Howard Stark. And in that sense, he's living a stolen life. They stole this life maybe from the actual Tony. They certainly stole the possibility of Victor growing up the way he was supposed to grow up. And I think that is probably where the stolen lives comment comes from. I think this connects to He Who Remains, the sacred timeline. I think it connects to the Prime universe. Now, that's a big theory, which is essentially that before the multiversal war that's discussed in Loki, the one in which He Who Remains claims he harnesses the power of Goliath, ends the multiversal war, and then creates the TVA. Well, that means there was a timeline that led to that multiversal war before he then wins and goes back and resets the timeline. So basically, all of those lives that everybody's living in the sacred timeline, all of those lives that people are living in any branches off of the sacred timeline were stolen from the Prime variants. The Prime variants' lives are discarded. Now, this is kind of interesting because Alex Perez has said a couple of different times that Dr. Doom does or did hate Kang because he discarded all other timelines other than the sacred timeline. So that's what I think that means with the stolen lives. Now, it potentially gets even crazier, and you're going to want to watch the video tomorrow because I break some of this stuff down. But there were some weird rumors out there about how a lot of the characters we've seen in the Infinity Saga will end up being variants. They will end up being characters that are not who we thought they were, or something of that nature. I'm actually kind of surprised that Marvel would put this into the marketing. No leak that we have ever talked about has ever mentioned this line of dialogue or this as a motivation for Victor. The only leaks that this lines up to are way older leaks that seem to have come from when they were actually conceptualizing what this was and how they were going to explore it in the Doomsday movie. Okay? So I continue to believe that it's connected to that the retcon is real, that we will essentially learn that the Iron Man that we followed throughout the Infinity Saga was a Victor Von Doom variant that was manipulated or tricked into thinking he was Tony Stark. That's the stolen lives line. And it gets even darker. It gets even more crazy. This could potentially connect to the poster. There's some pretty interesting things going on in that poster. I'm talking about the one that has Dr. Doom in front of the mural, right? Which, by the way, that whole poster could actually be a sigil. It could actually be a part of a spell, or at the very least, a physical representation of something that Doom wants to manifest. Because you look at that poster, and it's almost like you have all these roots of the trees down below. And then you have this world created above the roots. And then you have, in the sort of heavenly, held in high esteem, ultimate goal, you have his wife and his son. And there's a way you could look at that poster and say, I will destroy the world tree, and from its ashes I will create a singular world, a battle world. No more multiverse. I will create a singular world I will stop the decay of this false multiverse. I will create a paradise world, and I will have heaven on earth. I will have my son, and I will have my wife on this earth. And the thing that's really cool about this is it's in none of the plot leaks. Like, basically none of the plot leaks. Like, the plot leaks would have you believe that Victor is from 828, ditches that reality for no discernible reason, goes to a reality where he marries a version of Sue, has a child, his reality is then destroyed, and that's when he breaks bad? And then his entire motivation is just to stop everything or take control of it because Steve Rogers created incursions? Dude, that shit never made sense to me. I still don't think that's what the plot is. I think that's the plot of what they shot a lot of. I think that plot is maybe what Doom's going to essentially pretend is his real motivations until it's finally revealed that the thing that took Victor away from 828 was an initial understanding that would lead him down a path where he would do incredibly dark things to destroy what he considers to be a false multiverse, a prison, a loop. So much so that he might have sacrificed his own family to do so. But we don't know that for sure. A lot of this is just my speculation. A lot of this is just my theory. But that's how I sort of feel it connects to the Stolen Lives comment. Chat, what do you think? Chat, what do you think? Kind of like how the TVA employees are not living their real lives like Mobius. Yes, I think that's correct. Mobius has his life stolen. He was meant to be a jet ski salesman, and they literally take him out of that reality, steal his life, and make him into a TVA member. Any chance it's more connected to Endgame? Maybe them going back to get the stones is the stealing lives. I agree it could be fake motivation. I think Endgame will obviously play a role here. I actually think, though, it's more connected to Tony Stark dying. So it's possible that Tony Stark dies on that timeline somewhat after Kang has control, or maybe that's the thing that looses the control. And then maybe that's what gives Victor the vision. Like, maybe Victor has a dream, like Doctor Strange was having dreams in Multiverse of Madness. Maybe he has a dream of Tony dying. And he's like, why did I just have a dream of a guy that looks exactly like me that literally said, I am Iron Man, and snapped his fingers? I am not Iron Man. I am, in fact, Victor Von Doom. What the hell is going on? And then he explores the multiverse, and he starts to realize, oh, shit, this isn't what I thought it was. You know what I mean? Like that. I think that's a lot more Victor Von Doom, frankly. Like, the idea of Doom discovering that the multiverse is fake and then just deciding to go live a life with Sue is not quite Victor Von Doom enough. You know what I mean? And then, like, it doesn't work out and he loses his family, and then he gets mad, and that's when he starts taking over shit. That doesn't feel Victor Von Doom enough. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm saying I know Victor Von Doom from the comics. That is not Victor Von Doom enough. You know what's Victor Von Doom? Is realizing the entire multiverse is fake, realizing that you must sacrifice something that you really love in order to have the power to break all reality and remake it in your image, genuinely going to a universe where you can have the thing you truly desire, which is a life with Sue Storm and a child, and doing it knowing that it's real love, but it's real love that will be sacrificed at the altar of your true desires. That is Victor Von Doom. That is the guy I know. Okay? This whole like, oh, I lost my family, boo-hoo, and now I'm going to go on a rampage. That's not Victor Von Doom. I'm not saying it can't work. If they ultimately go with that direction, it could still absolutely work. But ever since Shine released the idea that it's about Steve Rogers and Steve Rogers kills Doom's family and all that stuff, it never made sense to me. It feels incomplete. It's an incomplete version. But maybe I'm wrong. Ader Chase says, but there's still a lot of fog in the edit, but Ozempic Joe will clear it out and take us home by December. Thanks again for the Saturday hang. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, I had a good time on Saturday. And I think you're right. I think that the fog will clear. I think the actual movie is going to look way sharper. Maybe he steals Tony Stark's family, Potts, and his daughter. I don't see that at all. I think the reason he would take Sue is because he is actually from a universe where he had a relationship with Sue. Not like they were banging, but like they were colleagues or they worked together in something. They knew each other. Sue explains this. They have a history. They knew each other. So basically, it's one of those things where Doom actually does have feelings for Sue. But I kind of see this twisted scenario in which he uses the feelings he has for Sue as the catalyst to some dark magic. It's like Vormir. Why does Thanos take Gamora to Vormir? Anybody? Bueller? Why does Thanos take Gamora to Vormir? Because he genuinely loves her, and he knows he must sacrifice what he loves genuinely to get the power he seeks. Yeah. So this, I'll say just one more thing about this, and then I'll stop yapping. We had a big old stream today, lots of yapping. Another reason I've always thought this is because the leakers continue to say that Avengers Forever is being adapted in this film. Now, Avengers Forever was a cool run. It's sprawling. There are a lot of different issues, but it is ultimately about Avengers Prime Loki, a Doctor Doom multiversal variant known as the Doom Above All Dooms, the most powerful variant, the most evil variant of Doctor Doom we've ever seen. And it ultimately ends in a showdown between Doctor Doom and a bunch of variants of evil characters and Avengers Prime Loki and a bunch of variants of Marvel heroes. That sounds weirdly similar to the most recent leaks about the third act of Doomsday and a lot of the shit they changed in this movie. And as it so happens, that super evil variant of Doctor Doom from that run, he sacrificed Valeria, his one true love. He sacrificed her, and he made his armor from her flesh. He rips the flesh off of her living body, and he makes his armor with it. And it's revealed that because he genuinely loved her, and he was willing to sacrifice what he genuinely loved, it gave him ultimate power. His armor made from her flesh makes him stronger than any other Doctor Doom in the multiverse. So when the scoopers say for a long, long time that run is being adapted or parts of it are being adapted, and all of a sudden we see that you're getting some Loki, Avengers Prime, multiversal Avengers thing being cooked, well, all of a sudden I start to think maybe they're doing the same thing with Victor. Maybe they're doing the Doom Above All Dooms. Does that make sense? Moldunite says, what happens first? Will the F4 see a picture of Tony when they visit 616 and make the connection? Or will an Avengers see Victor unmasked before that? That's a good question, actually. That's a great question. I do wonder if they'll see Tony, the F4, and I wonder if that'll come up at all. That's interesting. Maybe when Doctor Strange said he saw 14 million outcomes, the only one we win, maybe he saw Doctor Doom in all those realities, and the only one where he is Tony instead of Doom who sacrifices. Maybe that's not bad. Quenching the flaming sword in the body of his true love. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something like that. Oh, I missed your super. My bad. Heather stole lives herself. God damn it. Rossi says with the $10 holla, Thanos takes Gamora to Vormir to sacrifice her for Heather's love. What? The only thing that really matters in the MCU is the kind of love is unobtainable. I saved myself. Oh my fucking God, bro. Kevin, do you realize what you did to me? Brad Winterbaum, listen to me, man. Do you guys realize what you've done to me? By creating this Heather character, the moment this bitch said, I saved myself, and I had a crash out like no other crash out, I was forever bounded. I did my own sacrifice. I have my own dark spell magic, except now I'm forever bounded with jokes and memes and super chats about Heather, the worst fucking character you ever created. Kevin! Do you think when the characters see Doom's face, it'll be surprising person, or they'll see like a group? I don't know how many of the characters are actually going to see the face. I think that we, the audience, will see the face. Don't forget Gaia. Gaia is so much better than Heather, dude. And Gaia is ass. Gaia is ass. In all this, I don't understand why Toby Spider-Man in the movie. Because he's awesome, and they want to show you how violent and how high stakes everything is. Because it's like, oh, remember how much you clapped for Toby when he came out of the portal? Well, now he's fucking dead right in front of you. And everybody's gonna cry, dude. Dude, man. I wonder if there's like some kids in the showings that'll start crying after that. If there are, you guys better do the right thing and tell them to stop being a bunch of pussies. Oh, what? You're 7 or 8 years old and you just saw Spider-Man get killed? Stop being such a pussy. Time to grow up. It's going to be great. All right. Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts on the trailer and the whole line from the Doom? What do you guys think he means? Stolen lives. Is it confirmed that Loki takes Steve to 828 to protect him? If so, maybe Steve sees Victor while he's there. Yeah, it's possible. It is absolutely possible. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's something they're hiding here, man. There's just so clearly some shit they're still hiding from all the scoopers and all the leakers and even me. Don't you ever say that. Heather over Gaia. Heather, don't you make me start saying... I'm going to start saying some wild shit. I almost just called her a cunt. You know, but I know people don't like that word, so I would never do that. I'll look forward to the breakdown tomorrow. Bet. Thanks, Joshua the fucking man. Appreciate you, man. No, I think it's going to be a good video. I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it. Are you taking Liam to Spider-Man? He's a little too young for it. You know what I mean? He's a little too young for it. Almost there. We're almost there. All right. Any last minute questions, thoughts, concerns? What's on your mind? All you freaking buttholes. I'm going to get out of here soon, but what's up? Josh, you missed both of my supers? Oh my God. Are they good supers? Or are they bad supers? Kevin sounded a little frustrated in the interview. That's true. We missed the whole segment, bro, from the top. Yeah, sorry, bud. James Gunn took you out. No! Love this EDM remix. I don't know who you spoke Genoshan. What the hell? Was it like a lot of clicking and stuff like that? Josh, your audio is fucked. Den of Buzz. DCU production value. That's pretty funny. Robot Maxing. What the hell, guys? Why didn't you tell me all these things? Closing in on 3 years with the Nerd Avengers. I got a Marvel Unlimited subscription so I can read all the Secret Wars comics. IQ Barry, much love, brother. Thank you for all the support. I hope you enjoy that, man. Those comics are incredible. Those comics are incredible. What else did Space Trick Serial say? Let me see if I can find this here. I only saw your one. Hey, Mr. Falcon, I really appreciate that 50, man. That's very generous. You don't got to do all that, but I do appreciate it. I don't see your other super chat, Space Tricks. It was like landfill dies in Beer Fest, yeah. Heather stole lives herself. Hate it. Is Doom the Demiurge or freeing them from the Demiurge? Oh, that's a good question. I think he's trying to free them from the Demiurge, but he's going to make a lot of the same mistakes that the Demiurge makes, essentially. Like the idea that thinking you know better than God, or that there's no God above you, or there's no validity to the cosmic nature of things, I think is a mistake. He's just making the same mistake He Who Remains made, essentially. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know how they're going to take it. That's kind of an interesting thing. I like that whole concept, though. All right, couple others here. Rashi says, will you take me to Spider-Man? Nope. Did you see Daniel RPK saying DC is bringing Brother Power into Man of Tomorrow? Who the fuck is Brother Power? Who is Brother Power? Yeah, who cares, but still. Brother Power. Brother Power. Right. No segment for Supergirl? What do you want me to say about Supergirl? That shit's ass. That shit's ass. That shit's cooked. I wish they would have introduced the Council of Reeds in the F4 movie, not for cameo's sake, just the equivalent of the story moving forward. I think that would have been cool. And maybe there's still like a version of that could be in the film, but yeah, highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. Maybe they'll cook with that later on, though. Did you see the Iron Spider thing with Toby? I mean, yeah, we don't know if it's real, though. There's still just a lot of debate on whether that's real. I hope it is, though. I hope it is. I hope so. I really do hope so, man. All right, chat. Well, I'm going to get on out of here soon, man. I'm pretty hungry, guys. I got to go eat a lunch. I got to get some lunch, you know? But it's been real. No stream tomorrow, but that big breakdown's going to come out early, and then there'll be some clips tomorrow as well. And then I'll be back at it on Wednesday. Here's the thing. No Warhammer Wednesday stream. I'm sorry, but I'm going to see Spider-Man Wednesday night, so I'll be down in Pittsburgh watching Spider-Man, and then I'll be driving back. And then we'll do a full spoiler breakdown for Spider-Man Friday morning. It's going to be juicy. I'm excited. John Johnson said there was once an idea to bring together a group of remarkable Heathers to save themselves. My God. They're getting creative. Iman says, exactly. Marvel announced Ghost Rider and DC bring Brother Power. Yeah, that's true. We should never lose sight of how cooked the DCU is. We should never forget that James Gunn did a lot of talking but didn't back it up for shit. And we should never forget that James Gunn is the worst, and he's running that shit into the ground, creatively bankrupt, you know, goofy as fuck. You know, probably stinky, you know, probably has bad breath. And we should never forget how vile and lowly and untalented and such what a hack that James Gunn is. So thank you for reminding me. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right, everybody, much love. I appreciate you all. Thanks for being here, man. Big video tomorrow. Check it out. Big stream on Wednesday. Big stream on Friday. And then I think next Friday night we got a D23 stream. We're going back in. We're going back in with high expectations. I'm talking high expectations. Appreciate you guys. Much love. As I always say, I hope you, that's right, you, are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Kendrick can't beat Magneto. He's 4 feet tall. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Leave. Oh man! Another spicy stream, another lovely start to the week. It's Spider-Man week. We still got a ton of Doomsday stuff to yap about. Oh my god, the figures, the toys, it all looks so cool. So cool. So cool. So excited. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. Much love. Much love. And Star Wars is dead. I don't want to hear about it. I'm not going to watch a fan film. I don't give a fuck. I didn't watch Darth Maul. Like, I don't know what else you guys need to know, but I didn't even watch the fucking Darth Maul show. You think I'm going to watch Theory's fan film when I didn't watch Darth Maul? Are you high? Are you fucking high? Okay, appreciate you though. Much love. I hope you enjoy it. You know, if you're into that sort of thing, get on out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Do me a favor before you do. Actually, make it 2. First up, open up that third eye. Next up, wash out your stinky, stinky butt. Hole